for their attendance. Look forward to a good meeting. We will begin with the invocation by the Reverend Walter A. Whitehurst, pastor retired United Methodist Church, and we'll stand for the invocation, remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards. But prior to the invocation, I would ask that we have a moment of silence for a citizen of Virginia Beach, Terry Andreas, who was killed in the awful event at the Florida airport. So, Pastor, before you did your invocation, if we could have a moment of silence, I'd be most appreciative. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. You can go ahead and do the invocation, please.
Let us pray. Dear God, when someone is killed, it is sad, and we ask you to bless the relatives and all of us that we will not continue to have such killings. And we thank you that we live in this country where we can begin the meeting of the City Council with an invocation. What a privilege it is to call upon you to bless this meeting so that the decisions made tonight will be to the benefit of this fine city of Virginia Beach. Bless the members of this council as they give of their time and abilities to continue to find ways to work for improvements in the areas where there may be needed. We pray also for the Commonwealth of Virginia and the General Assembly with gratitude for those who serve as our leaders, and for our nation as we transition from the leadership of President Obama this week to President-elect Trump. We ask your blessings in all involved in this change. We also pray for the nations, all the nations of the world, not just our own country. Where there is fighting, we pray for peace. Where there is extreme poverty and lack of hope for the future, we ask for blessings for all. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor, thank you, sir. Certainly appreciate it. At this time, I would like to I guess I got to say Scott Ridgel, not Congressman Ridgel, former Congressman Ridgel, and his wife Terry, if they could come forward for just a second. I think you all know, I'm so glad they're both here because they're a team. And there you go. I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate the hard work that both of you all did in D.C. To leave the greatest city in the world, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and to have to live in D.C. part-time, it had to be awful. But the most important thing, Scott, I want to thank you for your service in Congress. I will tell you that I truly admired your leadership because you went up there to do what you think was right. And you would cross the aisle if it needed, and you made friends with a lot of people in Congress, wherever they came from, not referring to their party either. And for that, I think that's a great leader, to be bold and to do things like that. And I think that's also how you get things done. So it is my pleasure to read this proclamation and then present a little something to you, if I may. Whereas Scott Ridgel was elected to represent Virginia's 2nd Congressional District in November 2010. Whereas he has regrettably decided not to run for a 4th term, and whereas he serves on the influential House Committee on Appropriations and previously on the Armed Services and Budget Committees of the House of Representatives. Whereas during his terms in Congress, Scott Ridgel has made, as he did in the private sector, creating jobs his urgent priority. Whereas he has done an excellent job in representing the nation's largest military district, and whereas Congressman Ridgel is an independent thinker and a congressional reformer, which is evident as he is a co-founder of the Fix Congress Now caucus. And whereas Congressman Ridgel has worked in a bipartisan manner to address the pressing needs of the country in matters of defense, budget, and other priorities. Whereas Congressman Ridgel's service to America began early in his life through his service in the United States Marine Corps Reserve, whereas he earned a BBA from Mercer University and his MBA from Regent University, and whereas he and his wife Terry are the proud parents of 4 children and the proud grandparents of 4 grandchildren, Parks, Reese, Cade, and O.E. the Fourth, and whereas Congressman Ridgel is the epitome of a leader and a public servant. Now, therefore, I, William D. Sussons, Jr., Mayor of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, do hereby proclaim January 17, 2017, Congressman Scott Ridgel Day. And on behalf...
I'm amazed by that. Wow.
I tell you,
Honored.
and in addition, it's my pleasure to present this to you from the council and myself.
Okay.
I think you know that location
Oh,
very,
what a
very well.
precious-
And we
What a
hope,
precious memory of this congressional service. I thank you all so much.
and-
And
Your
may I
property.
just say a couple, I mean, very briefly.
well, we'd like to hear from Terry too, because she's...
To all in attendance, this is a beautiful frame of pictures and things that mean so much to us. And I think, okay, Penny, let me just talk about it just for a second and very quickly. Thank you, Terry. And maybe, hey, let's do this, Mr. Mayor, if we can, and to all members of council, thank you so much, and staff who makes everybody look so efficient and organized. But Terry, I think it might be best if it's all right if just maybe a word of expression of thanks or gratitude, whatever comes to your mind. She didn't know she was going to do this.
No.
It's easy
She's
to
all
say
good.
thank you to everybody for just your support and letting us have such a wonderful city to come back home to. And we missed it very much while we were gone. We
Thank-
truly did.
thank
So
you, Terry.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for your public service.
Yes, very much so. And not only to all and each and every one of you, but to those who are here behind me tonight. Aside from the marriage to Terry and our children and grandchildren, this is absolutely the highest honor of my life to serve this incredible district. And I just want to say, as a resident of Virginia Beach, it was a deliberate choice for us to live here. It's a special place. It's a special place of history. Its history began well before Captain John Smith and the others arrived here around 1608 or so. But this quote that he had, I love the water, and I think he captured it so well. He said, "Heaven and earth have never agreed better to form a place for man's habitation." He was just awed by the Chesapeake Bay and our inland waters. And I know you're doing everything you can to protect them, and I appreciate that. I really do. I love the water, and that defines our area. We're a diverse city. We look like America, and this is a good thing. Public service is like immersion. And I see my friends from SeaTac here tonight. I got dear friends. We all do in the Filipino community, the Hispanic community. And there's others, of course, our Asian community. It's a wonderful place and a privilege to serve them. And I thank you for that recognition of working to make sure that our community really forms as one. The final thing I want to say, and you know this all too well, the nature of the commands that we have in our district and then in this region has put a disproportionate amount of loss. They say fewer than 1% of Americans serve in our military now. It's about 0.6%. And even within that, it even narrows down to those who are in harm's way consistently. And this council has never failed, and this city has never failed to recognize, to stand with our families as best we can, including our Gold Star families. So I love Virginia Beach, and I'm leaving with this thought here. My good mayor, Mayor Sessoms, would always conclude oftentimes, greatest city in the world, and sometimes we'd make a little eye contact, and I represented many cities, and so I had to be a little careful with how I responded to that. but I'm not running for anything. I don't plan on running for anything anytime. It's probably the last time I'll be in a suit for a while. But the next time, I'm not sure I'm going to breach that little limit that I set on myself. But the next time you say that this is the greatest city in the world, you'll at least look at me and I'll be going, you're right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Okay, you got the roll call, Madam Clerk?
Your Honor, Mrs. Abbott is absent because of a delay on flight.
Do I have a motion for the certification of the closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call for the question, please.
I vote 10-0 with Mrs. Abbott absent. You certify the closed session in accordance with the motion to recess.
Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the January 3rd, 2017 special formal session, ceremonial oath of office, and the informal and formal sessions?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Call for the question, please.
By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the minutes as submitted.
Do I have any speakers on the MBCC Development LLC?
No, Your Honor.
27th Street Hotel trading as H2O Boardwalk Cafe.
No, Your Honor.
Very good.
On your consent agenda, you have the CTEC item.
Oh, no, we got to pull that, but we do need to do an add-on, I believe, do we not?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Mr. Davenport, did you want to do your add-on, or you want me to do it?
Vice Mayor Sessoms or Vice Mayor Jones, excuse me.
I've been demoted.
I'd be happy
You
to read it
started
if you
off
like.
at top
It-
of the
Okay,
chair.
I'll
Okay.
second.
This resolution was requested by me. This is a resolution opposing House Bill 2108 and requesting the General Assembly to reject this and any companion bill limiting or impeding a locality's control of its communication infrastructure. Whereas on January 11, 2017, House Bill number 2108, HB 2108, was introduced to the General Assembly as the Virginia Broadband Deployment Act. Whereas City Council of Virginia Beach supports the mission of the Broadband Authority Council as organized under Virginia Code 2.2-2699.3 and its purpose of expediting deployment and reducing the cost of broadband access in the Commonwealth. However, passage of HB 2108 and the Act would produce results that would directly conflict with this purpose. Whereas, in partnership with the Commonwealth, the city has successfully negotiated with private companies to host various international submarine cables that will land in Virginia Beach, which will further provide connectivity and technological benefits throughout the Commonwealth and beyond. Whereas, enhancing connectivity is a means of encouraging economic development and diversification of business in the city, the region, and the Commonwealth. Whereas, passage of the act would greatly hinder the progress the city has made to encourage economic development and facilitate technological connectivity throughout the city, the region, and the Commonwealth by precluding the city from sharing infrastructure it owns with any non-governmental entity to provide efficient and cost-effective connectivity. Whereas the City Council of the City of Virginia Beach recognizes the importance of each locality's ability to manage its own communication infrastructure in order to foster technological advancement and economic development. Whereas passage of HB 2108 would take away each locality's authority to utilize and manage its communication infrastructure in furtherance of achieving timely and affordable access to broadband and technological infrastructure and should be rejected. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Virginia Beach that the City Council opposes HB 2108 and the Virginia General Assembly is hereby requested to reject HB 2108 and any companion bill limiting or impeding broadband deployment by a locality.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion for this to be added on? Hearing none, I'll call for the question, please.
By a vote of 10-0, you have added the resolution read by the,
That now becomes item number 5 under ordinances.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor, the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move for approval under the consent agenda. First, under ordinances, item J1, which is the ordinances to grant franchises A, MBCC Development LLC, Ray Communication and Public Rights-of-Way, and B, 27th Street Hotel LLC, trading as H2O Cafe, Ray Open Air Cafe at 2705 Atlantic Avenue. J2 is ordinance to confirm the declaration of a local emergency, Ray Winter Warm Storm Helena. Item 3 is ordinances to appropriate and transfer within CIP projects, Ray Central Village District Sewer System, A, $1,780,000, Ray Price Street Apartments Sewer Pump Station, and B, $2,900,000, Ray Elizabeth River TMDL Implementation Plan, and authorize the increased scope, Ray BMPs. Item 4, ordinances to appropriate and transfer A, $1,300,000, Ray Witchduck Road Phase 2 sewer and water improvements. B, $700,000 to Davis Corner and Kempsville Rescue Squads, Ray Hurricane Matthew, and replacement of ambulances lost in the storm. Item 5, which is a resolution opposing House Bill 2108 and requesting the General Assembly to reject this and any companion bill limiting or impeding a locality's control of its communication infrastructure.
Open a public hearing on planning.
Under planning for consent, the application K1, application of H. Frank Malbin and Randall Malbin Dubois, trustees in the Beach District. And Madam Clerk, please note that Mayor Sessoms is abstaining on that item. Item 2 is for indefinite deferral, and that's the application of Hogs Tooth Precision LLC and Franz Leak in the Princess Anne District. Item 3 is the application of Mon Cherie Day School of the Arts and Cherie and Gregory Knighton in the Rose Hall District for approval. Item 4 for approval is the application of Verizon Wireless, Cardinal Road and Cavalier Yacht and Golf Club in the Lynn Haven District. And Madam Clerk, please note that Councilman Davenport is abstaining on that item. Item 5 is the application of Sandra K. Sawyer, trading as Sandy's Angels Daycare, and John Ashley Newsom in the Centerville District for approval. And item 6 is for deferral to the next advertised meeting, is the application of Tallwood LP in the Centerville District. And item 7, B, is the application Master Transportation Plan and Primary Roadway Network Plan, Ray Lavender Lane and Centaura Way. Move for approval, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'll call for the question, please.
By a vote of 10 to 0, with the abstentions of the mayor and Mr. Davenport being noted, you have approved the consent agenda.
Thank you very much. I'll now go to item 7A, City of Virginia Beach to amend the 2016 Comprehensive Plan, add the historic SeaTac suburban focus area. We have speakers. This was on the consent agenda, so please call the speakers.
Mr. Mims, the first speaker. Mr. Jackson, the second speaker.
Mr. Mims, we welcome you today, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, first of all, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Mine is just comments of appreciation for the year and something we've been working on this. And on behalf of the community, thanking all the planning staff and the planning commission for their work. All other details we'll work out with the planning staff. But special thanks to planning and zoning staff that came and visited SeaTac. And the commissioners, I think it was D. Oliver and the previous chairman, that rode in the city van with our community person, well, Mr. Andrew Jackson, our board members, Cheryl Snowden, Ms. Mills, Mr. and Mrs. Wesley Haynes, and we made some headway. On behalf of our entire community, we thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Andrew Jackson. And the next speaker.
Mr. Jackson, we welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Happy New Year again to all of you. Mine is about the same as his, except I was in the midst of that committee. And I asked for someone from the planning commission, and they gave us 3 people. Someone from CTAC, 3 people moved in there. Ms. D. Oliver, Dr. Kwasny, Jeff Hodgson, and then Cheryl Snowden and Gigi Mills. I want to say it was some push and shove and some, but we got things done, and it was an example of how communities and the city and planning work together. It was a good thing. And so I need to say to all of those people and to Barry Frankenfield's staff, we're missing one, I guess she's no longer with the city. That was our keep us on track in our quarterdeck, and that was Gerald Phillips. So to all of them, I would say thank you and hope that word gets back to them. They're not here, but I was just a mediator, but it was a joy. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Everett Bro?
We welcome you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, City Council members, I am here opposing this amendment to the consent agenda for our community, or at least not so much for the CTAC community, but unfortunately, we own property at 1309 Virginia Beach Boulevard, and that property is actually deeded in the Oceanic Gardens community. In the midst of this process, many people have been up in front of planning to oppose this and to oppose the way that that the community has been defined in the comprehensive plan. Our property at 1309 Virginia Beach Boulevard, we have specifically asked planning to remove from their definition of the CTAC community, because quite frankly, we're not in it. And I don't understand how all of our work, I've heard a lot of talk today about how they've worked with the community, but they haven't worked with us. Our words have fallen on deaf ears. And we feel that this is going to further restrict our properties. Our property falls in the APZ1, and it's highly restricted. And the response that we got back from planning was that there's going to be no restrictions. But the fact of the matter is that if there were going to, there's a black dash line that encompasses what they are considering to be the historical CTAC community. And if it has no implication, then it wouldn't be there, because we don't fall within the CTAC community. Our property is deeded Oceanic Gardens. And I don't understand how this has continued on to the point to where it's gone to city council, and no one has come in and addressed our issues. And my good friend Ron DeAngelis has been in front of planning. I've been in front of planning. Annie Powell has been in front of planning. All of us opposing. Not so much the historical designation for CTAC, but so much as the fact that our properties are included in something that it shouldn't be. And so I'll leave it up.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Thank you for coming down. Next speaker, please.
That's all the speakers, Your Honor.
Thank you. Barry, could you just give a quick explanation as to, this is not related to the historic part, as I recall, and then we'll get a motion.
The reference to the SeaTac historic area as opposed to the historic SeaTac suburban focus area, they're two different things. The historic area delineation was included in the comprehensive plan and the technical document which you have approved in May. So this suburban focus area, I don't believe conflicts with Mr. Brown's property.
Thank you. Mr. Ern?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would move, and also we probably need to recognize Ms. Henley's comments too, that this is an area that could expand or contract based on whatever historical items are discovered in the future. So, and understanding this is a suburban focus area, but the historic overlay that's in the comp plan could change its boundaries. But with that in mind, Mr. Mayor, I'd move that we accept the resolution as in our packet regarding to the historic SeaTac suburban focus
I
area.
have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? Call for the question, please.
By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the resolution for the comprehensive plan adding the SeaTac suburban focus area.
Thank you. I'll now move to appointments. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate to the Historic Preservation Commission Bobby Gribble, to the Resort Advisory Commission Russell Lyons, and to the Virginia Beach Community Development Corporation Heidi Daniels.
Do I hear any other nomination? Hearing none, I'll call for the question, please.
By a vote of 10-0, you have made the appointments as stated by the Vice
Excuse me?
Mayor.
The appointments to the planning council.
Oh, my, the liaison.
I'm happy not to do it.
Okay, we got two more things to do here. First of all, you are going to be appointed to the Community Development Corporation.
Correct.
And John Moss's appointment to the Community Development Corporation. Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll call for the question.
I'll vote for myself.
Mrs. Kamey, I have your vote. By a vote of 10-0, you have appointed Mr. Moss to the,
And the nominations for liaisons to the Dome site,
Correct.
John Ern and Louis Jones. Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll call for the question.
Sorry, give me just a second. I wasn't.
by a vote of 10-0, you have added the liaisons for the Dome site.
Have we
Mr.
forgotten
Jones.
anything else, Mr.
Ern.
Jones? Is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business? We'll adjourn. Thank you all very much for your hard work today.